The practice of retrieval involves recalling information received during a lesson, acquired during a study session, or more generally during a learning event, in order to support its consolidation. But why is the practice of retrieval considered not only useful, but extremely necessary for learning? Because simply reading or listening to a lesson are passive processes that do not involve the kind of effort needed to generate lasting learning. Retrieval activities, on the other hand, require an effort that supports the encoding and consolidation of the acquired knowledge, leading to more long-term memorization. Retrieval activities can take various forms and can be done individually or in groups. Usually, as a retrieval activity, students repeat aloud the information they remember or create diagrams. But how can the teacher support the process? For example, they can propose quizzes and open-ended questions in class, which students answer individually, and then ask them to discuss their answers in pairs. Alternatively, they can ask students to summarize the information they remember in a written text or a concept map. Or again, they can propose peer teaching activities that require students to explain the acquired information in a simple and clear way. We've already given a few examples, but in teaching practice, when and where should retrieval events be included? Let's start with a traditional context. After lessons, for example, in low interactivity in-person settings, students review the content and take notes, create outlines, and so on. They then carry out content reworking activities independently, usually followed by retrieval activities to consolidate and memorize what they have learned. They repeat aloud, either alone or in groups, create summaries, outlines, and so on. But let's change perspective. The teacher could take on some simple retrieval activities and incorporate them into the course flow. Why? Certainly to encourage consistent study and the memorization of key concepts throughout the entire course, rather than only at the end in a concentrated study session that does not lead to deep understanding. At the beginning of each lesson, for example, the teacher could, as a regular practice, ask students to summarize the points they remember from the previous lesson. Similarly, at the end of the lesson, they could always ask students to leave a takeaway, a summary of the main concept that stood out to them. The teacher could also take on some retrieval activities to support active student participation during a classroom session, where mastery of certain concepts is required. For example, the teacher could request students to watch online content asynchronously before a lesson, and then launch a short retrieval quiz during class to recall the same content, which is useful for carrying out, for instance, an exercise. The retrieval activity in this case is essential not only for consolidation but also to align the class's knowledge and ensure that all students have the necessary tools to carry out the activity. There could be many examples, but what is important to emphasize is that retrieval activities can be integrated into different scenarios throughout the entire learning process, and the teacher must also take responsibility for these activities, incorporating them into all the learning events we have already discussed.